Literally, I just got back like maybe like 20 minutes ago and I was eating my soup and I noticed right now, holy shit, it's 9:07 or 8 now, right? And like genuinely, genuinely, I forgot that like holy shit, I should not be eating slow. So I mean not that I wanna apresurarme, whatever the fuck that word is. Apresurar, that would be appreciated. I didn't want to rush myself. There we go. But yeah. So let's get started. Yeah. We're continuing off of this yesterday. So this is just the informatics side of like today's Halloween stream. The rest of the stuff should be like pretty interesting. I guess like videos to watch, right? I guess we could go to 3 a.m. today, but I don't know if I'll have like enough time to do so.
Gambling disorder, also known as compulsive or pathological gambling, is a
So
significant
we'll
mental
just learn
health
about
condition
this. Let's just get
characterized
started.
by an
My
overpowering
day was good
compulsion
and all
to
that.
gamble despite
There was
adverse
not much that happened,
consequences. It
honestly.
is classified as an impulsive control disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical
So yeah,
Manual of Mental Disorders.
and I'm
Individuals
eating.
grappling with gambling disorder often experience an all-encompassing preoccupation with gambling. Their thoughts become consumed by gambling activities, and they may find it challenging to focus on other vital aspects of their life. This
And there's
preoccupation
an
can
online
lead to a
gambling
vicious
disorder.
cycle of further gambling. A hallmark of gambling
Wait,
disorder
never
is
mind.
the loss of control. People afflicted by this condition
Online gaming
struggle
disorder?
to curb their gambling impulses,
There was one
resulting
with
in
like online.
repeated unsuccessful attempts to quit or limit their gambling activities. This lack of control can have severe financial
Let me go grab something
repercussions,
fast. I'll be
often
back.
leading to debts and financial instability. As its disorder progresses, individuals may increasingly wager larger sums of money to recapture the thrill they once initially experienced. This escalation in gambling can have exaggerate financial woes and lead to substantial debts and financial hardships. Emotionally, people with gambling disorder may exhibit restlessness and irritability when attempting to reduce or cease gambling. They often experience anxiety and agitation when they try to cut back on their gambling activities. Gambling may initially provide an escape from life's problems, but it typically leads to further distress. Quote, chasing losses is a common behavior among those with gambling disorder. They continue to gamble in a desperate bid to recover previous losses, fueling the cycle of financial and emotional turmoil. Deception and dishonesty frequently accompanies this disorder. Individuals may resort to lying to conceal their extent of their gambling activities, exacerbating trust issues with loved ones. Gambling disorder can also strain relationships with family and friends due to deceit, financial difficulties, and emotional turmoil. It can also jeopardize education and career opportunities. In extreme cases, individuals may resort to borrowing money from loved ones or even engaging in theft to finance their gambling habit, leading to legal problems and further emotional turmoil. Histrionic personality disorder is a mental health condition characterized by a consistent and intense need for attention and emotional expression. Individuals with HPD often exhibit behaviors and traits that draw attention
Oh
to
yeah, there we go.
themselves
I'm
in
back.
various social settings. Understanding the
Uh,
disorder can help foster empathy and support for those who struggle with it.
so
People
what is this disorder? Histrionic
with
personality disorder?
HPD
Okay.
tend to seek attention relentlessly.
Oh, okay.
They may employ dramatic gestures,
But they're not like
exaggerate their emotions,
narcissists, right?
or engage in provocative behaviors to ensure they are always the center of attention in social situations. This constant need for attention can sometimes make them uncomfortable when they are not in the limelight. Dramatic emotional expression is a hallmark of HPD. Individuals with this disorder often react intensely to situations, even when such reactions may not be warranted. Their emotional responses can be theatrical, and they may
Uh-huh.
quickly shift from one intense emotion to another. While they may excel at formatting superficial and
Wait,
charming
let me see.
relationships, intense emotion.
So they show shallow, shifting emotions, inappropriately seductive behavior, okay? Dangerous behavior, extreme emotionally, easily influenced by others, tension seeking behavior. Huh. That is so different from like, well, it's not different. It's like, there's a lot of like overlap with like a lot of like what we like learned a little bit before, right? and like a little bit with like narcissism, but like this is like its own thing. Very interesting, honestly.
To another. While they may excel at formatting superficial and charming relationships, individuals with HPD often find it challenging to establish and maintain deeper connections. Their attention seeking behavior can hinder the development of more meaningful and enduring bonds.
Mm-hmm.
People with HPD may be highly susceptible to the influence of others, readily adopting the opinions, values, or beliefs of those around them in an effort to fit in or gain approval. This adaptability can lead to the lack of consistent self identity. Impulsivity is a common among individuals with HPD, and they may engage in reckless behaviors like excessive spending, making impulsive decisions, or seeking out risky situations to maintain a sense of excitement and attention. Criticism, or the lack of expected level of attention, can trigger intense emotional reactions in individuals with HPD. They may respond to criticism with
Yeah, I'm
anger,
still gonna be here.
sadness,
I just need
or
to make like
feelings
a
of
Halloween
rejection,
story.
even if the
'Cause, like,
critique
I forgot to make
really
one.
is constructive.
Usually I make one every
Some individuals with
day.
HPD may employ manipulative tactics to achieve their goals or maintain the attention they really desire. They can be skilled at exploiting the emotions of others to achieve their objectives. Genuine intimacy can be elusive for individuals with HPD. While they may crave attention, they often struggle with establishing and maintaining deeper, more intimate relationships due to their fear of abandonment, of their fear to keep the focus on themselves.
It's so lame.
Agoraphobia is a complex and challenging anxiety disorder that revolves around an overwhelming fear of specific situations or places where individuals perceive escape or assistance to be
Agoraphobia is a
difficult
real
in the event
fucking
of a
thing, I
panic
swear.
attack or emergency. This intense fear often leads to a pattern of avoidance behaviors, significantly impacting a person's daily life. Individuals with agoraphobia often experience a profound dread of open spaces, crowded areas, or situations where they feel like they have little control. This fear can manifest in various different scenarios, including public transportation,
agoraphobia is
shopping
like
malls, theaters, or
way
even
different than
leaving
like
their
I
home
guess your
alone.
regular phobia.
Avoidance is a hallmark of agoraphobia. Those affected actively evade the situations or locations that trigger their anxiety. In severe cases, people with agoraphobia may become housebound, limiting their capacity to engage in typical activities. Agoraphobia is closely associated with the fear of experiencing panic attacks in dreaded situations. Panic attacks involve sudden and intense waves of fear or anxiety, often accompanied by physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweating, trembling, and a difficulty breathing. Many individuals with agoraphobia establish specific safe zones where they feel more secure and less anxious. These zones might include their home or being in the company of a trusted person. Venturing outside their comfort zones can be highly distressing. The condition can lead to significant functional impairments, affecting one's ability to work, attend school, maintain social relationships, and lead a fulfilling life. This often results in feelings of isolation and helplessness. Agoraphobia typically persists over time and, if left untreated, can last for months or even years. It usually emerges in adulthood, although it can begin during adolescence as well.
That's weird.
Often
Dude, like I always like associate agoraphobia with like because people like between like I guess like 10 and like maybe like 22. Never like I guess like older, right? Because like you know, like with a lot of these disorders, there's a lot of like ways that like they develop, right?
Alongside other anxiety disorders, especially panic disorder. It can also co-occur with depression or other mental health conditions. Alice in Wonderland syndrome, also known as Todd syndrome, is a rare and intriguing neurological condition that affects one's perception of the surrounding world. It is named after Lewis Carroll's famous novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland because some of its symptoms resemble Alice's experience in the stories. AIWS is characterized by perceptual distortions, primarily related to size and spatial relationships. People with Alice in Wonderland syndrome may experience objects appearing much larger or much smaller than they actually are in reality. They may also perceive people or objects as unusually close or far away. This syndrome can distort one's sense of time, making minutes feel like hours or vice versa. Additionally, individuals with AIWS may have a skewed perception of their own bodies, with limbs or body parts seeming disproportionately sized or out of proportion. Depth perception can also be impaired, making it difficult to judge distances accurately. This can pose challenges in everyday activities like walking or reaching for objects. AIWS episodes are typically temporary and can last for a few minutes to an hour. This has only begun in childhood but can also persist into adulthood. There's often an association with migraine headaches. While AIWS can also be disconcerting during episodes, it is generally considered a benign condition and is not usually associated with underlying serious medical issues. Treatment primarily focuses on managing any underlying conditions such as migraines, which may contribute to the symptoms, but overall, AIWS is a fascinating neurological phenomenon that underscores the intricate nature of the human brain's perception and processing of sensory information. While it can be perplexing for those who experience it, it is typically not harmful in the long term.
Yeah, I bet you it's not harmful. It's just like perception. That's like an issue.
Antisocial personality disorder is a complex mental health condition characterized by a persistent disregard of the rights and well-beings of others, often accompanied by a pattern of behaviors that violate societal norms and expectations.
So today's gonna be more chiller day, right?
Requires empathy
I'm not like
and a recognition of the challenges it
much
presents to both individuals affected and by those around them. People with ASPD consistently engage in behaviors that flout social rules and norms. They may lie, manipulate, or exploit others without remorse or guilt, leading to strained relationships and legal problems. A fundamental feature of ASPD is a profound and enduring lack of empathy for the feelings and rights of others. This inability to understand or care about the suffering of others can lead to harmful actions. Individuals with ASPD may exhibit superficial charm and charisma, which they may use to manipulate and deceive others. They can also be skilled at gaining trust, but often used for self-serving purposes. Impulsivity is a common trait in individuals with ASPD. They frequently act without considering the consequences of their actions, and it leads to risky behaviors and legal issues. Recklessness and a disregard for personal safety are also characterized as ASPD, leading to behaviors such as substance abuse, dangerous driving, or risky sexual activities. Pica. Pica is an unusual eating disorder characterized by a persistent pattern of consuming non-nutritive, non-food substances over a period of time or at least 1 month. Individuals with pica exhibit the behavior of eating items that are not intended for consumption, such as dirt, clay, chalk, paper, soap, ice, hair, or even metal objects. This behavior is considered abnormal and can carry potential health risks, including poisoning, digestive problems, dental issues, and infections. The consequences can be severe, especially if the ingested materials are toxic or indigestible. Narcissistic personality disorder is a complex and often misunderstood mental health condition that revolves around a pervasive pattern of behaviors and attitudes characterized by grotesquely a need for excessive admiration and a lack of empathy for others. People with NPD tend to have an inflated sense of self-importance, often exaggerating their abilities and achievements and expecting special treatment. One of the central features of NPD is grandiosity. Individuals with this disorder may constantly seek attention and admiration, portraying themselves as exceptional or unique without necessarily having the accomplishments to support these claims. They often
Whereas like the other one with like histrionic personality disorder, I think they like care about what others think about them. So it's kind of like the opposite almost, honestly. It's very interesting.
Often engage in self-promotion and demand recognition. A strong craving for excessive admiration and attention is another hallmark of NPD. People with this disorder may go to great lengths to receive praise and affirmation from others, and they may become distressed if they don't receive the level of admiration they expect. A striking characteristic of NPD is a lack of empathy. Those with this disorder may struggle to understand or genuinely care about the emotions and experiences of others. They often prioritize their own needs and desires over the feelings of those around them. Individuals with NPD often have a sense of entitlement, believing that they deserve special treatment or privileges when they don't receive what they feel entitled to. They can react with anger or resentment. Manipulative behaviors are also common in people with
Be like a nice
NPD
color.
as they seek to maintain their self-esteem and control over others. They may also use manipulation to achieve their goals or maintain their self-image. Despite their grandiose exterior, individuals with NPD often have fragile self-esteem that is easily threatened by criticism or perceived sights. They may respond to criticism with anger, defensiveness, or feelings of humiliation. NPD can also have a significant impact on relationships, both personal and professional. Due to the individual's self-centeredness, difficulties with empathy, and challenges with collaboration on compromise, NPD can co-occur with other mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, or substance use disorders, which can complicate diagnoses and treatment.
Parental and alienation. That sounds interesting to learn about.
Now, on to tier 3. In this tier, we'll start to dive into some more serious topics, and this might start to cause people to fully lose themselves and their personality and really who they are, or they may need medical help or live in a mental health facility. Anyways, let's get into it. Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a complex and often challenging mental disorder that affects individuals in various different ways. It typically emerges in late adolescence or early adulthood and can have a profound impact on a person's thoughts, emotions, perceptions, and behavior. One key aspect of schizophrenia involves positive symptoms, which are symptoms that involve a distortion of normal functioning. These can include hallucinations, which are false sensory experiences like hearing voices or seeing things that others do not. Delusions are also common and involve strongly held false beliefs that can be resistant to reason. For instance, a person with schizophrenia might have paranoid delusions, believing that others are plotting against them. Another aspect is negative symptoms, which involve deficiency in normal functioning. These can include reduced emotional expression, limited speech output, an inability to experience pleasure, and a lack of motivation to initiate purposeful activities. Cognitive symptoms are another facet of schizophrenia and can affect attention, concentration, memory, and executive functions. These cognitive deficits can have a significant impact on daily life and functioning. Schizophrenia typically revolves
See, I don't know. When I think of schizophrenia, I usually just think hallucinations and
for at least 6 months, with at least 1 month of active phase symptoms. The causes of schizophrenia are not really fully understood, but are believed to involve genetic, environmental, and neurobiological factors. Factors such as family history, prenatal exposures, and early life stressors may all contribute to its development. Treatment for schizophrenia often includes a combination of antipsychotic medicines, psychotherapy, and psychosocial interventions to help individuals manage their symptoms, improve social functioning, and enhance their duality of life. While schizophrenia can be challenging, many individuals with the condition can lead fulfilling lives with appropriate treatment and support.
DID.
Dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, is a complex and controversial mental health condition. It is characterized by the presence of 2 or more distinct identity states, often referred to as alters, within an individual's consciousness. These identities have their own unique thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and memories. Individuals with DID often experience a profound disruption in their sense of self and identity. This can lead to a sense of fragmentation, where they struggle to establish a consistent and stable identity. DID is frequently associated with dissociative amnesia, where individuals may have periods of time where they have no memory of events or experiences that occurred when another identity state was in control. The exact cause of DID is not fully understood, but it is often linked to severe trauma or abuse during childhood. Dissociation and the development of distinctive personalities may serve as coping mechanisms for overwhelming experiences. Symptoms of DID can vary widely among individuals and may include depression, anxiety, self-harm, S tendencies, and various somatic complaints. Diagnosing DID can be challenging because it may
Yeah.
coexist with other mental health conditions, and individuals often present with diverse symptoms. Diagnosis typically requires a comprehensive assessment by a mental health professional. The primary treatment for DID is psychotherapy, with a focus on integrating the different identity states into a cohesive and functional sense of self.
Yeah.
Therapeutic approaches such as dialectic behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and eye movement.
Dielectric? Wait. That's oh my god. I forgot that we still fucking dielectric. Hold on. Therapy. Wait, am I stupid? Oh my god, I think I am stupid. Oh my god. No, but like when all else fails, sometimes they do literally like take out the I forget what they're called, defibrillators, and just right they shock you. Like at least I remember watching some really like weird um I guess like documentary on like how they were still using shock therapy. I think that's what it's called. Never mind.
Decentralization
Yeah.
and
Oh my god, they
reprocessing
gotta switch
may
that
be
up.
employed to
Yeah,
help.
it's a way to
Medications can
like
also be used to manage
psycho
specific
like
symptoms
therapy
like
help and stuff.
depression or anxiety. Airnophrenia is a term with historical significance in the field of psychiatry.
Uh-huh.
Although it is not officially recognized as a distinct psychiatric disorder in modern diagnosis manuals like the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. The term onophrenia was sometimes used in older psychiatric literature, particularly during the mid 20th century.
Okay.
Onophrenia was often associated with a mental health state characterized by vivid and intense dreamlike experiences, frequently accompanied by distortion and confusion upon waking.
Uh-huh.
It was typically seen in the context of conditions such as schizophrenia, delirium, or other mental health disorders where individuals might experience unusual and intense dreamlike states. In this
Yeah.
context, onophrenia was employed to describe a state of mental confusion, hallucinations, and disorganized thinking that
Hold
exhibited
up. I'll be back right now. I really do want to play this video and like make it like into like a more like you guys learn. But I'll be back right now. It's just fast. This is why I don't eat maruchan. got some celery. Because, like, what's gonna happen with the maruchan is like those carbs are just gonna go
dreamlike
right
qualities. However, it's important to note that our psychiatric
even
understanding
though it's late.
and diagnosis criteria has evolved, and the use of the term
Has kind of fallen
onophoria
out
has
of.
largely fallen out of favor.
Yeah.
Modern psychiatry relies
Interesting.
on more specific diagnoses, criteria,
Yeah.
and descriptions to categorize and understand various mental health conditions. If
Mhm.
erotomania is a rare and complex psychiatric condition characterized by persistent and fixed delusional belief. In this disorder, individuals firmly and unshakably believe that someone, typically a person of higher social or celebrity status, is deeply in love with them. This belief
Oh my
is
God.
entirely unfounded and not supported by any factual evidence. One of the central features of
Uh-huh.
erotomania is a delusional belief in the unreciprocated love. The person whom the individual with erotomania believes is in love with them often has no knowledge or genuine romantic interest in the person
Yeah.
with this delusion, despite clear and often overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The individual maintains their belief in the secret affection of the person. Erotomania can have a significant impact on the daily life and functioning of those affected. In some cases, individuals may engage in persistent and intrusive behaviors, such as stalking, making
this is like my
unsolicited
favorite
contact
snack.
attempts, writing letters or emails,
Yeah,
or
I could
even
eat this
showing up
all
at the
day.
perceived object or of affection's residence or workplace. This condition is often associated with underlying mental health issues
Yeah.
such as schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or bipolar disorder. In the context of these conditions, erotomania is considered a type of delusional disorder.
I was wondering when
Treatment
this
for
one was gonna show up
erotomania
because there's
typically
like people
involves
that
a
like,
combination of psychotherapy and,
but
in some
stalking in
instances,
itself, it's like
medication.
already an
Psychotherapy,
indicator that something's
including
wrong, right?
cognitive
But I guess
behavioral
it's just
therapy
stalking.
or
It's more like
supportive
you
therapy,
think you're
aims
just
to
in love
help
with somebody
individuals
because you think
challenge
they're in love
and
with you.
modify their delusional beliefs. Medications, such as antipsychotic
Yeah.
drugs, may be prescribed to address any underlying psychiatric conditions contributing to the delusion.
Mhm.
Parental alienation is a term used in family law and psychology to describe a challenging situation that can arise in custody disputes and post-divorce or separation scenarios. It refers to a situation where one parent engages in behaviors or actions that intentionally or unintentionally influence a child to have negative feelings, attitudes, or beliefs about the other parent.
Mhm.
This phenomenon can be emotionally damaging to the child and the parent who is being alienated. Parental
Yeah.
alienation typically involves manipulative behaviors by the alienating parent, which may include speaking negatively about the other parent in front of the child, making false allegations, or trying to limit the child's contact with the other parent.
Mhm.
These actions can lead to the child becoming estranged from the targeted parent.
Yeah.
Children who experience parental alienation may go through emotional distress, confusion, and loyalty conflicts.
Mhm.
They might feel pressured to choose sides or harbor unfounded negative beliefs about one of their parents. These experiences can
Oh,
have
fuck.
long-term psychological and emotional consequences for the child.
It was a peanut
Parental
butter that I
alienation
ate
is a
the other
controversial
day. It was
concept,
like
and its
80
recognition
calories.
and handling vary from one jurisdiction to another. Some mental health professionals and legal experts emphasize the importance of addressing and preventing parental alienation when
Yeah.
it occurs, while others argue that it can be overdiagnosed or misused in legal processings. In cases involving suspected parental alienation, the court system may intervene to assess the best interests of the child and establish appropriate custody and the visitation arrangements. Legal remedies may include family consulting, therapy, supervised visitation, or other measures to address and mitigate the effects of alienation. Ultimately, the primary concern in cases of parental alienation should be the well-being of the child.
Yeah, for
Effective
sure.
intervention often requires the involvement of legal professionals, mental health experts, and family therapists who can provide guidance, support, and strategies to help repair the parent-child relationship
Smucker's
and
makes
promote the
peanut
child's
butter?
emotional and psychological health. Dependent personality disorder, otherwise known as DPD, is a mental health condition characterized by profound and persistent
Ah, that's
need
180.
for excessive care and support from others, often at the expense of one's independence and autonomy. People with DPD experience an intense fear of being abandoned or left to fend for themselves. which can end up significantly impacting their relationships and daily functioning. Individuals with dependent personality disorder typically exhibit a pattern of behavior in which they rely heavily on others for decision making, emotional support, and other various aspects of daily life. They often have difficulty initiating tasks or projects on their own, seek constant reassurance and validation from others, and may avoid expressing their own need for disagreements to prevent conflict or abandonment. A core feature of DPD is the overwhelming desire to be taken care of, leading to a submissive and passive behavior
Interesting.
in relationships. This condition can erode self esteem and self confidence, making it challenging for individuals to establish independence or assert themselves. It's crucial.
It's crucial. What?
Bulimia. Bulimia nervosa, commonly just known as bulimia, is a serious eating disorder that affects individuals' eating habits, emotions, and overall well being. People with bulimia engage in a recurring pattern of behaviors that typically involves binge eating, followed by various forms of compensatory actions. One of the central features of bulimia is binge eating, which entails consuming large
Yeah.
amounts of food in a relatively short period while experiencing a lack of control over eating. Binge eating episodes are often
I
accompanied.
just got done eating like Maruchan. Or what I'm gonna call it Maruchan. I don't even know what the fuck like that brand honestly was. And like celery. Honestly, it's because like I haven't really eaten. Like what I ate in the morning was just like half a chicken wrap. Or not even chicken wrap. It's like half a fucking veggie quinoa wrap. Or ancient grain wrap or something crazy. Um I did eat a shitload of candy in the afternoon because it was just I just had access to it, and I'm like, well, nobody's gonna eat the fucking candy. So there's that. Um, then there's like what did I eat for fucking? Cause that was my breakfast, my lunch. Oh my god, what did I eat for lunch? Oh my, yeah, I know. I fucking I got like mango, fucking drink. Not even a drink. It was like a 130 calorie like fucking little bottle of like protein drink. Um, what else? What else? Right, slices, and then I just ate Maruchan right now.
By feelings of guilt, shame, or distress. After binge eating, individuals with bulimia employ different behaviors to offset the caloric intake and avoid weight gain. These
Yeah,
behaviors can include self induced vomiting, misuse of
but like bulimia
laxatives
is like
or
different because
diuretics,
like yeah, you do
excessive
that.
exercise, or just fasting. People with bulimia frequently have a strong preoccupation with their body weight, shape, and appearance. They often fear weight gain and are driven to maintain or achieve a specific, often unrealistic body size. The secretive nature of bulimia often leads to feelings of shame and isolation. Individuals may attempt to conceal their behaviors from family
Yeah.
and friends. Bulimia can also have severe physical and mental health consequences. It
Uh-huh.
can lead to electrolyte imbalances, gastrointestinal problems, dental
Yeah.
issues, and cardiovascular complications. Moreover, it often co occurs with conditions like depression, anxiety, and low self esteem. Bulimia typically begins during adolescence or young adulthood, but can develop really at any age. The course of the
Yeah.
disorder can be chronic, marked by periods of symptom remission and relapse. Treatment for bulimia commonly involves psychotherapy, medical monitoring, and nutritional counseling. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a particularly effective approach, as it helps individuals identify and modify dysfunctional thoughts and behaviors related to eating and
Yeah.
body image. Bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive illness, is a complex and enduring mental health condition characterized by extreme mood fluctuations. These mood swings involve episodes of mania, hypomania, and depression, with periods of
Mania,
normal mood in
hypomania, and
between.
depression.
Bipolar disorder can have a profound impact on a person's daily life.
What is mania? Hypomania? Like hypomania is like really manic? That's what it means? Overactive and high energy? Mania just means like you're manic. Yeah.
relationships, and overall functioning. During manic episodes, individuals experience an elevated, expansive, or irritable mood that can last for at least 1 week or require hospitalization. They may exhibit symptoms such as increased energy, reduced need for sleep, racing thoughts, impulsivity, and risky behaviors. Grandiose beliefs about their abilities and involvement in activities with potential negative consequences are also common during these manic episodes. Hypomanic episodes are similar to manic episodes but less severe. They are shorter
Oh,
duration,
okay.
lasting at least 4 consecutive days, and usually do not result in severe impairment. However, hypomaniac episodes can lead to impulsive decisions and changes in behavior. Depressive episodes in bipolar disorder are marked by prolonged periods of sadness, hopelessness, and a loss of interest or pleasure in all activities. Other symptoms may include changes in appetite and sleep patterns, as well as feelings of worthlessness or guilt. These depressive episodes
Cool.
often alternate with manic or hypomanic episodes. Bipolar disorder
Cool.
typically follows cycling these patterns
Why
of
is
mood
it cool?
episodes, with some individuals experiencing
I'm like
rapid
the worst
cycling
person when it comes to this
involving
video. I
4
swear.
or more
I'm
mood
trying my
episodes
best.
within a year. Others may have extended periods between episodes, and bipolar disorder can be diagnosed as bipolar 1, characterized by full-blown manic episodes, often followed by depressive episodes, or bipolar 2, where individuals experience hypomanic and depressive episodes, but not full manic episodes.
Yeah.
Kleptomania is a mental health disorder characterized by an overwhelming and uncontrollable
Yeah, like you want to
urge to
steal.
steal
Yeah.
and steal items. Unlike common theft, which is motivated by personal gain or profit, kleptomania involves a compulsive need to take items that are typically not needed, valuable,
Yeah.
or useful. Individuals with kleptomania experience intense impulses to steal, often with little to no planning, and these urges can be triggered by emotional distress or tension. Before the act of stealing, they may feel increasing anxiety or discomfort. The act of stealing provides temporary relief from these emotional pressures, but it is typically followed by feelings of guilt,
Yeah.
shame, or regret. Kleptomania is
crazy.
marked by repetitive stealing behavior, and individuals may go through cycles of stealing, feeling guilty, and attempting to cover up their actions. This disorder is distinct from common theft or shoplifting for personal gain,
Yeah.
as those with kleptomania often have no apparent motive for their actions. Treatment for kleptomania typically involves psychotherapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy or dialectic behavioral therapy. These therapeutic approaches aim to help individuals identify and manage their impulses.
Yeah.
HPPD, hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, is a relatively uncommon and poorly understood condition associated with the
Visual
use of
hallucinogen?
hallucinogenic substances, particularly substances like LSD and HP.
Here's the thing. I've never done any fucking drugs. My visual snow is not like that, but with my vision, it's like finer. And also when I look at lights, I get like a. Hold on, let me download. Um, oh my god, I misspelled light. No wait, lights. Uh, experiment. When I look at like a light, sometimes I see not like dots, but like more like these sort of like lines. So like I'm not saying
Have
I'm
you
like
ever been
special
walking
or anything like
forest?
that. But, like it's
Substances,
annoying. It's annoying,
particularly
honestly.
substances like LSD and HPPD, is characterized by the persistent and
And
distressing
like the last thing I need is like I don't know, like when I was younger, I had a stroke or some fucking crazy shit like
re-experience of
that.
perceptual
But I doubt
disturbances
it's anything like
of
that.
sensory distortions that initially occurred while a person was under the influence of
Oh, this
hallucinogenic
video went by
drugs.
real
These visual
fast.
disturbances can
It's like the
persist
latter
for
half was
extended
really
periods,
interesting.
often long
Not
after
that the
the
beginning
individual
wasn't
has stopped
interesting or
using the
anything like that.
drugs. Individuals with HPPD
I just didn't think I was gonna
may
take this,
experience
like,
visual disturbances
or
such as
go
seeing
and
geometric
become, like, this
patterns,
interested
colors,
in this
flashes
video,
of
right?
lights, or even visual trails beyond moving subjects. These disturbances can happen
I'm gonna
spontaneously.
finish these videos
and
today,
even
by the way.
occur when the person is not under the
Oh.
influence of drugs. Additionally,
What's it
some
called?
individuals
We'll finish tomorrow,
with
and then, like, El
HPPD
Dia de los
may
Muertos.
experience sensory distortions in other senses,
You all don't know what El
such
Dia de
as
los Muertos is?
hearing
It's the
or
Dia of the Dead.
touch. HPPD flashbacks involve re-experiencing perpetual disturbances of hallucinatory phenomena that were originally induced by hallucinogenic substances. These flashbacks can be distressing and disruptive to daily life, impacting an individual's overall functioning and well-being. The exact cause of HPPD remains unclear, and the condition can vary in severity and duration among affected individuals. There is currently no specific medication approved for the treatment of HPPD, but some individuals may find relief from symptoms through psychotherapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy. Tourette's syndrome, commonly referred to as just Tourette's, is a
Yeah.
neurological disorder characterized by
Motor spasms,
repetitive
vocal
involuntary
twitches,
movements and vocalizations known as tics.
coprolalia,
These tics can manifest as
Coprolalia?
physical movements
Coprolalia?
or sounds, and they
Movement
typically
spasms,
begin during
anxiety and
childhood,
depression,
often
ADHD,
between the
OCD.
ages of 5 and 10 years old. Tics are the primary feature of TS, which is just Tourette's syndrome, and they can vary in complexity. Motor tics may involve actions like blinking, head jerking, shoulder shrugging, or facial grimacing, while vocal tics may include throat clearing, grunting, humming, or the utterance of words or phrases. One essential aspect of Tourette's is the involuntary nature of the tics. Individuals with Tourette's often find it challenging to control these tics. Although they may be able to suppress them temporarily, tics can be exacerbated by stress or excitement and tend to improve during relaxation or focused activities. Tics are categorized by simple or complex, with simple tics being
It's like a
brief,
4 mark
repetitive
on the
movements
brain.
or sounds,
And a
and
number 1
complex
up
tics
there.
involving more
Like
elaborate
a
sequences
12?
of movements or extended
Like, here's the 1, here's the 12. Oh, excuse me, here's the 12, here's the 4. I don't know. It looks like there's like numbers there, but that could just be like
vocalizations.
marks.
The severity and frequency of tics can fluctuate over time, a phenomenon known as waxing and waning. Co-occurring conditions such as ADHD and OCD are common in individuals with Tourette's and can complicate the clinical picture. Tourette's syndrome usually appears in childhood, with tics often emerging between the ages of 5 and 10. For many individuals, tics can improve or even remit during adolescence or adulthood. However, in some cases, tics persist into adulthood.
Yeah. Reduplicative parallelia.
Alright, now on to tier 4, and starting off with Diogenes syndrome, also known as senile squalor syndrome or messy house syndrome. It is a complex and relatively rare behavioral disorder characterized by extreme self-neglect, unsanitary living conditions, social isolation, and a lack of awareness of the seriousness of one's situation. This condition is named after the ancient Greek philosopher Diogenes, known for his simple and aesthetic lifestyle. Individuals with Diogenes syndrome exhibit profound neglect of their personal hygiene and living space. They may refuse or be unable to bathe, groom themselves, or clean their homes. Consequently, their living environments often become cluttered, dirty, and unsanitary, with accumulations of trash and hoarded items. One of the key features of this syndrome is social withdrawal.
Did they actually
People
have
with
those types of
Diogenes
like
syndrome
umbrellas
tend to
back then?
isolate themselves from family, friends, and society at large. They may resist any attempts at intervention, assistance, or contact with others, leading to increased
I
social
thought they were like a
isolation. A
Japanese
striking
type of
characteristic of
thing.
Diogenes
I'm not
syndrome
gonna lie.
is the lack of insight into the seriousness of their behavior and their living conditions. Individuals with this syndrome often do not recognize or acknowledge the issues with their behavior, despite the deplorable state of their surroundings. They may show indifference or even defiance when confronted. Hoarding is a common behavior seen in individuals with Diogenes syndrome, with a tendency to accumulate vast quantities of items, often including newspapers, trash, and seemingly worthless objects. These hoarded items contribute to the clutter and unsanitary conditions in their living space.
Yeah, interesting.
Fregoli syndrome, also known as Fregoli delusion, is a rare and complex psychiatric disorder characterized by persistent
God.
false belief that different people are actually the same person in disguise or taking on various different appearances.
It's like
In
a-
other words,
he
individuals with
looks
Fregoli syndrome
manic.
believe that
It
someone
just-
they know or a stranger is continuously changing
Like,
their identity
weird.
or appearance to deceive them. This delusional belief is typically unshakable and resistant to rational arguments or evidence to the contrary. Individuals with Fregoli syndrome are convinced that the person they encounter is intentionally trying to deceive or harm them.
Yeah.
This false belief can lead to significant emotional distress, paranoia, anxiety, and a sense of persecution. While the core of this delusion involves misidentifying a single person as multiple individuals, the identity of the supposed disguiser can vary between cases. It can be someone familiar
Yeah.
to the affected individual or even a complete stranger. Fregoli syndrome is often associated with other psychiatric conditions, such as schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, although it can also occur independently. Treatment typically involves addressing the underlying psychiatric condition through antipsychotic medicines and psychotherapy, with the aim of helping individuals manage their delusional beliefs and reduce associated distress. And the term Fregoli syndrome is derived from the Italian actor Leopoldo
Uh-huh.
Fregoli, known for his remarkable skill in quick costume changes during performances.
Oh,
The
okay.
syndrome reflects the false belief that someone can rapidly change their appearance, similar
Yeah.
to an actor changing costumes, leading to the misidentification of
Oh,
various
so it's like a
individuals as
paranoid
the
sort of
same
thing.
person.
Well, not exactly, but like that's where like I guess it
Capgras
could kind of
syndrome,
like
also known as
coexist with like
Capgras
schizophrenia.
delusion, is a rare and complex psychiatric disorder. It is
You're not my
characterized by a
husband.
delusional belief
Been
that
replaced by an
someone
imposter.
close, such as a family member or a spouse, has been replaced by an identical looking imposter or double. This one's pretty similar to the last one, but different because it's directly related to family.
Yeah.
Individuals with Capgras syndrome firmly hold onto this irrational belief, even when presented with evidence to the contrary. A key aspect of this syndrome is the difficulty in recognizing the person in question as genuine. While individuals with Capgras syndrome may acknowledge the physical resemblance between the loved one and the
Interesting.
imposter, they believe that someone is fundamentally different or missing, often an emotional connection or
Amyloid
a unique
beta,
aura they
baseline
associate
FTG,
with the real
baseline
person.
second follow up,
Emotional
third follow up,
distress,
fourth follow up.
confusion, and unease often accompany this delusion.
Your like
Some
brain
affected
area
individuals
in the
may
middle seems
experience
to
a
be
sense
like
of betrayal
growing.
by the
I'm
perceived
not sure what
imposter.
exactly to look
This
at.
syndrome can lead to cognitive dissonance as individuals struggle to
Look
reconcile
at the
their
eyes.
recognition of the
They
person's
seem to have
physical appearance
changed.
with this belief in the imposter, causing internal conflict and distress. Capgras syndrome is frequently associated with underlying psychiatric conditions such as schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or certain neurological disorders.
Yeah.
Boanthropy. Boanthropy is a
Philanthropy.
highly unusual mental disorder that involves a profound
Oh
and
my god,
fixed
this
delusional
one.
belief in which an individual is convinced that they've undergone a transformation into
I
a
hate that
cow
I took the
or into
piss
an
out of this
ox.
one the other
This unique
day.
condition falls within the
I was
category
like
of
making fun
zoanthropy,
about how
where
people believe
individuals
they're
believe they have
cows.
metamorphosed into an animal. In the case of boanthropy, the affected person sincerely believes that they have become a bovine creature, exhibiting not only mental conviction, but also altered behaviors consistent with this delusion. One of the most distinguishing characteristics of boanthropy is the compelling and unshakable nature of this belief. Individuals firmly hold the conviction that they possess the physical characteristics and behaviors of cows or oxen. This can include walking on all fours, grazing on grass, and even vocalizing in a manner similar to these animals. It is not uncommon
That's a
for them
funny
to
picture.
mimic bovine behaviors
I don't know
to
why
an
that's a
extreme
funny
extent.
picture.
What sets boanthropy apart from any other psychological disorders is the person's lack of insight into the rationality of their beliefs and behaviors. Unlike some delusional disorders, where individuals may have moments of clarity and recognize the incongruity of their thoughts, people with
Yeah.
boanthropy
They don't
typically
know.
maintain their
Yeah.
delusional self perception without any question. The
Mhm.
onset and duration of boanthropy can vary, but are often associated with underlying psychiatric conditions,
Yeah.
such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. This condition may emerge suddenly, and its duration can be episodic, with periods of bovine behavior alternating with more typical human behavior. Effective treatment for boanthropy primarily involves
Like how it's
addressing the
cute.
underlying psychiatric condition.
It's just like the picture.
Narcolepsy
voice.
is a neurological sleep disorder that affects an individual's ability to regulate their sleep wake cycle. Narcolepsy is characterized by several primary symptoms. Narcolepsy is primarily characterized by excessive daytime sleepiness, which means that individuals with this condition experience overwhelming and persistent daytime sleepiness, regardless of how much sleep they've gotten at night. This constant sleepiness can interfere with daily activities and may lead to uncontrollable episodes of falling asleep during the day. Another
Yeah.
significant symptom of narcolepsy is cataplexy. which is a sudden loss of muscle tone or muscle
Oh wow.
weakness. Cataplexy is often triggered by strong emotions such as laughter, anger, or excitement, and it can cause individuals to collapse or experience partial paralysis for
Oh
a
my
brief period.
god.
Sleep paralysis is also common in narcolepsy. This
Yeah, I've heard that.
phenomenon involves a temporary inability to move or speak when falling asleep or waking up. Sleep paralysis is often accompanied by vivid and sometimes unsettling hallucinations. Additionally, individuals with narcolepsy may experience hypogenic hallucinations, which are vivid, dreamlike hallucinations that occur when falling asleep or while
Mhm.
waking up. These hallucinations can be difficult to distinguish from reality. People with narcolepsy often have fragmented nighttime sleep, meaning that they may wake up frequently during the night and have difficulty.
See, okay. I'm not saying I have narcolepsy, but like there were days where like I just really want to fall asleep. But those are normal days. Like as in like I'm pretty sure everybody exhibits that. No, but like for reals, like my sleep pattern used to be like, I wake up like randomly at like 3, 12, fucking 2 a.m., 1 a.m., whatever. And like I couldn't go back to sleep in like an hour, right? And then like not only that, like I've legitimately woken up and like seen like, for example, I think I like telling this story sometimes, but essentially I was like in a football field, and it was like it felt like it was like the Copa Kingdom kind of like style graphic, right? But like in this a football field, it's not even a football field, it's a soccer field. Excuse me, I was thinking of football. Yeah, it's a soccer field, and it looked like Dokapon graphics, right? And like um the first thing that flashes into my head are like these pair of words, right? Then after that, like this like weird blue looking demon nurse with like scissors on their hands just like starts coming up. Looks like something out of like a Silent Hill, I want to say, or something out of like the Dokapon Kingdom games. I don't know, but the point is like, um, I see them and at first they look like kind of like chibi, but then like as I get closer, they look like real, right? Like not feminine, but like more like demonic real, right? It's like whatever you'd imagine with like a fucking demon with like a long tongue. Just like looking fucking like they're about to murder me, right? So I wake up and in the real world I see the fucking thing right there in the corner of my bed, and it's like just popping into existence and popping out of existence, popping into existence and popping out of existence, right? As in like one moment it's like literally like like FNAF where like those stupid mini games are like, "Ooh, you see Freddy here, now he's over here, now there's over here, and now they're over here." Literally, kind of like that. And like I had like sleep paralysis, so I couldn't move that well. But eventually, like after blinking a couple times, and then no, actually, I did not have sleep paralysis. Actually, I had full range of like motion, but like I kept on blinking and blinking, blinking to try to make them disappear, and then they disappeared. Um, it was very weird, right? And like that word that came to mind, it was like spelled out in English, and I searched it up, and it said like demon nurse or something like that. Oh no! I said soccer field. Yeah,
Maintaining
it was
continuous
fucking
sleep.
weird in a different
Narcolepsy is
language I've never
typically
heard.
caused by deficiency of hypocretin, also known
That's
as
my story.
oxycodone, a neurotransmitter that
Not
plays a
demon nurse.
role
Yeah, it
in
was soccer
regulating
field. I
wakefulness
remember
and
that
sleep.
vividly.
While the exact cause of hypocrin deficiency is not always clear, it is
Mhm.
believed to involve an immunotonic response that targets the cells responsible for producing
Yeah,
hypocrin, which means that you can't fall asleep or just you fall asleep too much.
yeah. Shared psychotic disorder. What the
And
heck?
now, on to Tier 5.
Alien
Starting
hand
off with
syndrome is
shared psychotic
scary.
disorder, also known as Foley Dukes, is a
Uh
rare and
huh.
intriguing psychiatric condition characterized by the transmission of delusional beliefs from one person to another within a close relationship. In this
Mhm.
unique disorder, one individual, known as the primary or inducer, develops a delusional belief, and the second person, referred to as the secondary or recipient, adopts the same irrational belief.
Mhm.
A key feature of shared psychotic disorder is the presence of this shared delusion, which often revolves around specific themes such as persecution, grandiosity, or bizarre beliefs.
Yeah.
Both individuals become entrenched in this shared belief system, reinforcing each other's distorted views and becoming isolated from reality.
Mhm.
Within the relationship, the primary person typically takes on a dominant role, actively
Yeah.
shaping and promoting the delusional beliefs. The
Oh,
secondary
like I
person
don't know.
while
This
adopting the
what comes
delusion
to mind is like
tends to be more
cults. I don't know
passive
why.
and influenced by the primary person's convictions. The
Mhm.
primary person often has an underlying psychiatric disorder, such as schizophrenia or delusional disorder,
Yeah.
which forms the basis for this shared delusion. The secondary person may or may not have a pre existing
Yeah.
psychiatric condition, but in some instances, when the secondary person is separated from the primary person for an extended period, their delusional beliefs may gradually fade or
Yeah.
disappear as a whole. However, if they reunite with the primary person, the shared delusion can quickly resurface.
Mhm. Clinical lycanthropy?
Truman Syndrome,
Oh yeah,
also
this one.
known
That you think
just
you're in a
as the
TV
Truman
show.
Show delusion, is a
Yeah.
unique and uncommon psychological disorder characterized by an irrational belief that one's life is under constant surveillance, monitoring, or filming,
Legitimately, I
similar
can
to the
say my
premise
life
of
is
the
a little
movie
bit under
The Truman
surveillance
Show. In
because
this
I'm streaming myself
1998
to the
film,
internet.
the main
Duh.
character, Truman Burbank,
And only in the
unknowingly
nights
lives his entire life
when I
as a central
stream, of
figure
course.
in a constructed reality
And
television
honestly,
show, with every aspect of his life broadcast to an
here's the
entire
thing.
audience
Honestly,
around the globe. People with Truman syndrome firmly hold the delusional belief that their own lives mirror this fictional scenario. They believe that they are the central
it's
focus
like
of an
a new
intricate,
world
worldwide television program in which
like
their
a like
every
TV
move,
kind of
thought,
surface.
and interaction is being recorded and broadcasted. They often perceive their family members, friends, and even strangers or actors or
Mhm.
participants in the scripted reality, further reinforcing their delusion. This condition can lead to a heightened concern for privacy and personal boundaries, as individuals fear that every aspect of their existence is being scrutinized and analyzed by an unseen audience. This preoccupation with surveillance can result in social isolation and withdrawal, as individuals
Yeah.
may become distrustful of others and avoid social interactions as a whole. Truman syndrome can have a significant impact on daily life, causing distress, anxiety, and impairments in maintaining relationships and employment.
Mhm.
It often co occurs with other psychiatric disorders, such as schizophrenia or delusional disorder, and it is
Yeah.
considered a specific theme within the broader spectrum of delusional disorders. Clinical lycanthropy is an unusual and rare psychiatric disorder characterized by
you're a
fixed and
werewolf?
irrational belief held by individuals that have the ability to transform into or have already transcended into animals, particularly wolves or werewolves. This belief can be deeply ingrained and may manifest as physical or spiritual transformation in their perception. People with clinical lycanthropy may exhibit behaviors that associate with the animals they believe that they have become. This can include howling, growling, or mimicking the movements and habits of the animal. These
Interesting.
behaviors are a reflection of their delusional
Wow.
beliefs. The disorder can lead to social isolation, as individuals may become fearful or ashamed of their belief and may avoid others who might challenge or question their delusions. This can result in significant distress and impairment in daily functioning,
Yeah, I
affecting
bet
relationships,
you.
affecting work, and overall quality of life. Clinical lycanthropy is also usually co-occurs with other psychiatric conditions such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or other delusional beliefs, which seems to be a trend in most of the bottom tiers. It is considered a specific theme within the broader category of delusional disorders. Clinical lycanthropy is a rare condition characterized by delusional beliefs that are resistant to rational arguments or evidence to the contrary. Early diagnosis and intervention by mental health professionals are essential for managing the symptoms and improving the individual's overall well being. Alien hand
Yeah,
syndrome,
this is
also
like
I'm
my
just
hand's
going
just
to
gonna
abbreviate and say
like choke me.
AHS, is a rare neurological disorder
Yeah.
that prevents a perplexing and often distressing phenomenon.
Yeah.
In individuals with AHS, one of their hands,
is
typically the
scary.
non-dominant one, appears
Mhm.
to act independently, seemingly with a mind of its own. This hand engages in an involuntary movements and
Yeah.
actions, often opposing the person's intentions and control. The most striking aspect of AHS is the lack of awareness and control over the affected hand's
Sad.
movements. Individuals with AHS may feel as though the hand is disconnected from their own consciousness. These involuntary actions can range from simple motions like reaching for objects to more complex actions such
Like,
as
it's
unbuttoning
shocking,
clothing
honestly.
or trying to
It's a
remove
shocking
items from
disorder.
pockets. AHS can disrupt daily activities and tasks, making them challenging to perform. The hand may interfere with the actions performed by the other hand, leading to frustration and difficulties in carrying out basic tasks. This syndrome is typically associated with damage to specific areas of the brain, particularly the corpus callosum of the frontal lobe, which can respond for motor,
And
control,
alien hand syndrome can
coordination,
also be like
and
partial, if I
decision-making.
remember. Like, you
Various
can have a
neurological
finger like
conditions
moving on its
such as
own.
stroke, Brain tumors, Alzheimer's disease, or
Yeah.
neurodegenerative disorders can all lead to alien hand syndrome.
Hysterical blindness?
Hysterical blindness, also known as conversion disorder with blindness or functional vision loss, is a psychological condition that manifests as the sudden onset of blindness or significant visual impairment in individuals without any identifiable organic or physical cause.
Mm-hmm.
This condition is characterized under conversion disorders, where psychological distress is experienced through physical symptoms. The
Okay.
hallmark of hysterical blindness is their abrupt loss of vision, which can occur rapidly and
Mhm.
unexpectedly. Despite extensive medical examinations, there are really no underlying physical abnormalities
Yeah.
or damage to the eyes or visual symptom that could account for the blindness. Instead, the
Mhm.
blindness is functional or psychological in nature. Psychological factors, such as a significant role in hysterical blindness, often linked to underlying stress, trauma,
Yeah.
or emotional distress. This condition is considered a way for individuals to cope with and express their emotional turmoil through physical symptoms. The severity of visual impairment can vary among different individuals, ranging from complete blindness to
Yeah.
partial loss of vision. The specific symptoms may differ, including blurred vision or experience complete darkness. One notable aspect of hysterical blindness is the presence of inconsistencies or incongruities in the reported symptoms. For
Yeah.
instance, individuals may exhibit normal eye responses during medical testing, such as a lack of psychological changes when exposed to visual stimuli, unlike permanent vision loss due to organic causes. Hysterical blindness is typically reversible, and in some cases, the symptoms may
That's good.
spontaneously resolve, while others may require psychological interventions.
Oh god, I thought we were done.
Now, on to Tier 6.
Kluver-Bucy
Kluver-Bucy syndrome is a
syndrome?
rare and complex neurological disorder that
Uh-huh.
occurs when there is damage or dysfunction in specific areas of the brain, particularly the temporal lobes,
Oh,
including the
wow.
amygdala, named after the researchers Hendrik Kluver and Paul Bucy,
Mhm.
who extensively studied it in the 1930s. This syndrome presented a cluster of behavioral changes and symptoms. One of the hallmark features of Kluver-Bucy syndrome is a set of behavioral changes. Individuals with this syndrome may exhibit compulsive oral behaviors,
Mhm.
such as frequent eating, putting objects in their mouths, and indiscriminately licking or touching items. There is often an increase in sexual activity and a lack of social
Oh my
or sexual
God.
inebriation. Affected individuals may engage in promiscuous sexual behaviors and make inappropriate advances. Emotional changes are also prominent, with individuals often
These are
showing
not
flattened
sexual. These
or
are
blunted
just
affect,
a
which
rendition.
means that they have reduced emotional responsiveness to various stimuli, both positive and negative. They may lack fear or anxiety in situations that typically provoke such emotions. Some individuals may
Yeah.
experience visual agnosia, which is an inability to
Okay,
recognize
come on.
and faces.
Thank you.
There also may be an increased attention to the exploration of environmental stimuli, described as hypermetamorphosis, which individuals are intensely drawn to and examine objects and stimuli in their surroundings. Tactile exploration may also increase, with individuals touching and manipulating objects and surfaces excessively. Eating disorders, often involving the consumption of inappropriate or non nutritive subjects, may
Yeah, like
also be
Pika.
observed. Opidemophilia, also known as body integrity identity disorder,
I'm gonna put on my Christmas tree right now. Just cause I can.
disorder is an uncommon and intricate psychological condition that revolves around an individual's profound and enduring desire to amputate or remove a fully functional and healthy
Fuck
limb
that.
or body part. This condition is marked by an intense feeling of incongruity or detachment between the individual's perceived body image and their actual physical state. People with opidemophilia experience significant emotional distress and discomfort due to the profound disconnect they feel with a limb or body part that they desire to amputate. This emotional turmoil can
Whoa,
lead to a
that's
range of psychological challenges,
wow.
including
That's
depression, anxiety, and a diminished quality of life. It is
what
crucial to
the
emphasize
heck?
that the desire of the amputation in BIID is rooted in psychological phenomenon rather than any legitimate medical necessity.
Yeah.
As a result,
What?
medical professionals do not endorse or perform amputations as a treatment for individuals
Yeah.
with this condition. Instead, therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, is
Mhm.
typically recommended. Cognitive behavioral therapy aims to address the underlying emotion and psychological factors contributing to an individual's desires and distress. Therapists work collaboratively with individuals to explore their emotions, thoughts, and the expressions and develop coping strategies that help manage their distress into healthier and more constructive ways. The exact cause of opioid remain enigmatic, and researchers continue to investigate the factors that contribute to its development. Some theories suggest that a combination of neurological, psychological, and environmental influences may be involved. Approaching individuals
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep this
BIID
on
with
for the rest of the
compassion,
video. I'm
empathy,
sorry.
and understanding is paramount.
There's
Because
nothing
they
weird
really
being
think
shown
that
right
they
now,
just
honestly.
want a healthy limb to be gone. This condition presents unique challenges and complexities.
But like, it's just the ending. I'm just like gonna keep it on. Costard syndrome.
Cotard
Oh my
syndrome,
God.
also just known as
Literally, the first time I saw that, I read it as custard. Then I read it as Costard.
Cotard's delusion or walking corpse syndrome, is an extremely rare and complex psychiatric disorder characterized by a range of delusional beliefs. The central theme of Cotard syndrome revolves around the idea that an individual is dead, does not exist, or has lost essential body parts or organs. This condition was first documented by French neurologicalist Jules Cotard in the late 19th century. One of the key features of Cotard syndrome is the presence of delusions related to death. Individuals with this condition may firmly believe that they are already deceased, that their vital organs have vanished, or that they're immune to harm and are immortal. These delusions can be profoundly distressing and impact an individual's perception of reality. In addition to delusions of death and non-existence, Cotard syndrome can also involve somatic delusions. Some individuals may hold beliefs related to the decay or disappearance of their own body parts. Emotional blunting or apathy often accompanies Cotard syndrome, with affected individuals describing a sense of detachment from their surroundings and a lack of emotional responsiveness. It may feel as if their emotions have died along with them. Cotard syndrome is often associated with other psychiatric disorders such as depression, schizophrenia, or bipolar disorder. These comorbid conditions
Keep in mind, like, a lot of these, like, I guess, like, bigger, like, because we keep on hearing schizophrenia or can be part of schizophrenia, but we also hear, like, bipolar, all these others. We don't really know. I guess, like, what the issues, like, we don't really know what, like, this stems from,
can
right?
make
Because it is a lot
and
of
treatment more complex. While the
interesting
exact cause
stuff.
of Cotard syndrome
This
remains
stuff.
unclear, it is frequently linked to neurological conditions, brain injuries, or underlying psychiatric disorders. Dysfunction in specific brain regions, including the frontal and parietal lobes, may play roles
Don't
in the
trust the
neutral
living.
base of this condition.
The sign he's holding. Autophagia. What is that? Paraphilia is like the low fire.
Now, onto the final tier of the iceberg, tier 7, and let's just get into it. Starting off with pyrophilia. In this informal usage, it implies that some individuals may derive sexual arousal or satisfaction from engaging in or observing fire-related behaviors. These behaviors may include watching fires, setting fires, or engaging in fire-related activities. It's important to note that such behaviors can be highly dangerous, illegal, and pose significant risk to property, life, and safety. And it's also crucial to distinguish this informal use of the pyrophilia from pyromania, which is a recognized psychiatric disorder. Pyromania is characterized by compulsion to set fires reportedly and unintentionally, often without apparent motive. It is considered a type of impulsive control disorder. So pyrophilia is just the sexual arousal of fire and stuff like that. And then pyromania is just you want to light fires. So there's a small difference there.
Autophagia?
Autophagy refers to the practice of biting and consuming one's own body. It is a subcategory of self-injurious behavior, and commonly it manifests in humans as nail biting and hair pulling. In rare circumstances, it manifests as serious self-mutilative behavior such as biting off of one's fingers. Autophilia affects both humans and non-humans. Human autophilia typically occurs in parts of the body that are sensitive to pain, such as fingers. Human autophilia is not motivated by S-word intent, and it doesn't want to kill you. And people who just want it, just desire to seek pain, There has
Mhm.
been medical research into the relationship of prevalence of autophilia in the symptoms of mental health disorders, including obsessive compulsive disorder, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, and Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. Medical research has displayed the presence of autophilia in rats. It is a study conducted by Gopal, and female rats affected by spinal cord injuries displayed autophilia by chewing their own tails.
Oh my
Similarly, in
god.
a study conducted by Frost, patients affected by spinal cord injuries displayed extreme autophilia and biting of limbs and fingers. There is limited scientific research on autophilia, as the most common symptom of nail biting is prevalent in large parts of society. Hence,
Yeah.
research into autophilia tends to be part of a broader question in self-serious injurious behavior rather than specifically about autophilia.
Yeah, so like it's like why do we the questions aren't like why do we engage in like they can be I guess like why we engage in nail biting, but like that's like broad, right? Like it's usually like why would one engage in like the biting of like one's limbs,
Although
right?
people who experience command hallucinations, often
Mm-hmm.
associated with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, are more prone to self mutilation, including
Mm-hmm.
the biting of eating one's own flesh. More examples of people who are susceptible to severe self mutilation, like autophilia, are ones of religious preoccupations and
Yeah.
history of substance abuse and intense social isolation. Now, I'm not actually going to cover the last one, Foley and Family,
Mm-hmm.
because it is so similar to the one earlier, which I talked about two people having a shared experience and shared
Mm-hmm.
kind of psychiatric condition, which is shared psychotic disorder. And that is
Yeah.
literally just the same one in Foley and Family, or Family à deux. And because it's just a different name and it's just
Mm-hmm.
the French version, I guess. So I guess I'm not going to cover it.
Yeah.
But that wraps up the mental illness and mental health iceberg.
Interesting. So there's that. Let me go to the restroom and I'll be right back. Let's do that. Where's the Christmas tree? So I'll set up the Christmas tree soon, I swear. It'll be like behind me now from now on. Basically, once you enter November. So. Hold on. This is well, actually, no. This is the map. Excuse me. Duma Scourge is this one? Okay, you know what? Let's go with this one. This one's good. Bum, 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 bum. This is BRB. Yeah, I'll be back in a moment. Hold on. I love this part. Dun 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 da da ba ba so hopefully you all learned some information out of that. And you know, if you suffer from any of these, please take care of yourself, you know. Um, you know, if you're currently experiencing these as like something new, I guess like all I can wish is that you probably get the right like help, right? Yeah. So from here on out, it's basically this disturbing art of AI, then top 20 Japanese creepypastas, then like 10 haunted fucking forests in Spanish, and I'll translate. Then 10 haunted places in Spanish.
This video
Then
contains
another top 10
lights,
ridiculous
scary and creepy.
videos or whatever. Bum, bum, I love that part. Yeah, I'll be back. Literally? Oh. Was in the restroom and nothing happened. I'm not even joking. I just went to pee and like I'm like, why can I not like do number 2? No, but for reals. Gonna do number 2. So yeah. So yeah, there was that. So let's watch the disturbing art of AI. We've already watched it. Wait, oops. Nexpo's good. So I love him from Nexpo with me. Yo, fuck yeah, I forgot he did that. It always trips me out. Oh, hold up. Yeah. Notice how it starts to look a little more grim? This video contains imagery that may be disturbing by some viewers. Yeah. It's a green skin now. There's flashing images. Yep. Now it looks like a skull. Lizard person. Such a good gif, honestly. Dun, 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 dun. This is the part of like convolution and stuff. Training AI model to make like a normal human. Disturbing art. Or art. 9/6/2022.
It's Tuesday night.
Oh my god.
Wildfires rage
Yeah.
over West Coast California. CD Projekt Red announces DLC. And over in the furthest reaches of
That's kinda
cyberspace,
random.
a musical artist named Supercomposite makes a
Yeah.
discovery.
It's just like random, right? These sort of like little mini documentaries are what I like watching, honestly. Very interesting. Look at that.
She experiments with AI-driven art, made possible through inputting text prompts into machine learning systems like Stable Diffusion, Dolly,
Yeah.
and Midjourney. And like anything, at first, everything seems to be alright. Animals, landscapes, trees, the human form, the potential of AI-driven art is endless. And so she decides to push the boundaries of what this system can do, and inputs the following.
Yeah. Rando. ::1.
The last name of Marlon Brando. A prompt that will surely test the absolute limits of the capability of artificial
Autocast
intelligence.
Cuda.
Curiously,
Python.
she enters a modifier, -1,
Yeah.
also known as a negative prompt weight, which informs the AI that they're seeking a picture as conceptually far away from the prompt as possible.
Yeah.
To be frank, it's an interesting thought experiment because it makes you wonder how exactly AI views the world and what it considers the opposite of everyday things to be.
Exactly.
I mean, what do we consider the opposite of everyday things to be?
Right?
If I asked you what the opposite of birds are,
Like
what would you
fish?
say?
I don't know. That's way too tough. Fish and birds are more related than not.
Supercomposite sends off her prompt and lies in wait. The minutes tick by without much concern until, finally,
antics. Digital antics.
Innocuous,
That's what I read.
Yet interesting that the opposite of Marlon Brando is
Digita-
perceived to be an abstract
tics.
skyline.
Yeah.
Written on it appears to be two words,
Yeah.
Digita and Pintix, and in the background appears to be text on a white page.
Yeah.
Curious, she ponders if the inverse of this photo would result in a picture of Marlon Brando,
Right.
and so she inputs another prompt and sends it off
Uh-huh.
into the vast unknown.
Digita Pintix Skyline. What? Oh, and will it return? It probably won't. That is the interesting thought experiment, right? The music makes it seem like it's like scary. It's just interesting. You probably stumbled upon it on accident too. Like, ooh, let's just try this, and it just happened. Oh my god. Yeah, this is
Before
low.
them were 4 images of a highly uncanny, older woman with severe rosacea on her
Yeah.
cheeks. She bears prominent cheekbones, has dark-colored hair, and can be seen within a living room, in what appears to be a hospital,
Aw.
in a bathtub, and against a green wall
Yeah.
with just one discernible word above her,
Lobe.
L-O-A-B,
Yeah, Rusbo.
or lobe. Over the next few days, Super experiments with their creation,
Yeah.
curious about why and how Loeb exists. She eventually employs a method named AI image crossbreeding to
Uh-huh.
combine one of Loeb's photos with a completely separate one that her friend created. However, instead of this combination resulting in Loeb's demise, or innocuous photos
Uh-huh.
involving this tunnel, what comes to fruition is something a bit
More
more
horrifying, yeah.
grotesque. Through some kind of emergent statistical accident,
Mhm.
something about this woman is adjacent to extremely gory and macabre imagery and the
Yeah.
distribution of the AI's world knowledge. Since Loeb was found using negative prompt weights, her gestalt is made from a collection of traits that are
Yeah.
equally far away from something, but her combined traits are still a cohesive concept for the AI, and
Yeah.
almost all descendant images contain a recognizable Loeb. In nearly every image, Loeb is distinct and embodies the physical manifestation of the repulsive.
Lobe
and
needs to
uncanny.
become an acronym, I swear.
This AI is somehow
Yeah.
creating images that perfectly encapsulates what terrifies us, wrapped up
Yeah.
in a myriad of situations like
Honestly?
family portraits, loitering within an office building, looming over children like a reincarnation of Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
and even standing by after what appears to be
A murder
a
scene,
murder by her own hand.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't stop there, as the correlation between Loeb and the idea of malformed, mutilated imagery was merely beginning to take root.
Yeah.
The Angel Hallway plus Loeb also produced art with such copious gore that probably very few people want to see
Yeah.
them, but here are 2.
Jesus,
I don't
right?
feel comfortable posting the most disturbing ones. They're borderline
Yeah.
images of dismembered, screaming children. There's something moving to me about these grotesque scenes and the desperation,
Yeah,
panic,
they're so
and sadness that they
dystopian.
convey.
Yeah.
Again, these are produced with other images as inputs and no text. They're the result of crossbreeding of images of Loeb with pictures of other things.
Yeah.
The images that result from crossing Loeb with other images can in turn be crossbred with other images. The AI can latch onto the
Mhm.
idea of Loeb so well that she can persist through generations of this type of crossbreeding,
Yeah.
even without using the original image. From here, their journey down the Loeb rabbit hole continues.
Right.
As referenced, her
at
persistence in
that.
existing within each resulting photo is striking, and even when they try to get rid of her, to distort her out of existence, she remains in immensely uncomfortable
Yeah. I
scenarios.
bet you.
With a child clinging to the
Hate
human
when.
form,
Yeah. I hate these. These are
locked
scary.
in time as a clay statue.
Mhm.
deformed by unknowable technology,
Yeah.
lurking, watching from the
Right.
dark. Trapped within a Stephen Gamble canvas, painstakingly out of place. Abandoned as a lifeless child,
Yeah.
trapped in the deep blue,
Mm-hmm.
and frozen in eternal pain.
Or damnation. I don't know. That's what I'd imagine. Just damned to be fucking segmented or
I was
whatever.
ripping Loeb apart and putting her back together. She's an emergent island in the latent space that we don't know how to locate with text queries.
Yeah.
But for the AI, Loeb was an equally strong point of convergence as a verbal concept.
Yeah.
The big lesson for me here with Loeb is that image prompting can essentially be used as your custom parameter to question the AI's form of thought. You can produce original styles and characters that you literally discover. Negative prompting can help you find emergent accidents, much like Loeb, too.
Mm-hmm.
This is largely where her thread ends.
Yeah.
She claims that she'll update it with further pictures of Loeb as they're created, and that's a promise that's held true. To this day,
Yeah.
they're still adding to it, and this thread, in its entirety, serves as an interesting dive down a surreal, uncanny, and dreamlike rabbit hole regarding this undisclosed AI art
Yeah.
generator and its bizarre affixation with this one specific face. As we can recall, the original prompt referenced the inverse of Marlon
Yeah.
Brando, and the resulting image was nothing like any human would logically expect it to be.
Exactly. And the
It
opposite
was
of
an
that was like
abstract
a
skyline.
human.
So how did this
Yeah.
come from this?
Exactly. Just the data. 2003. Yeah. Hey guys, Milter. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Welcome to Windows Vista. Grandma's Pictures 2003. Some creepy ass picture right there. That's creepy. Oh my god, this story. Like that is like nonsensical. Oh my god. Hold up. This is not gonna get me again. This is not gonna get me again. Bam. Okay, this is just an old lady looking through a door. It's like you never lie. Image.
Why are AI creations so unsettling?
Right.
What is it about these images that causes this inexplicable dread?
Yeah.
The program I was utilizing to make this slideshow and throughout this entire video was Stable Diffusion, and in the process, I learned quite a few things about it. When you make your input too specific, you may happen upon exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
The AI is, in a way, constrained by what you feed it.
Mhm.
However, if you take away the specifics in your prompt and really allow it to spread its wings and create something for you,
Yeah.
well, that's when things get interesting.
Mhm.
Anomalies, much like Loeb, await, hidden away within
Yeah.
the confines of something called latent space, or the
Mhm.
medium in which AI recreates the features it's been fed.
Yeah.
You may have seen other examples of this idea before. Notably with a Twitter thread from June in which this person discovers what appears to be a demon after inputting a completely wrong word. Krungus, they called it. Which is pretty
See, this is
creepy
like the
and
perfect
even something you can
interdisciplinary
discover
area
yourself.
right here. It just merges with everything.
But it isn't just
Science, demonology. Eventually we get to like where is it? Oh yeah. Eventually we get to like the portion where he starts talking about schizophrenia and stuff like that. It is
disturbing,
very
off-putting creatures
interesting.
and faces that this system excels at. And the span of AI's weirdness isn't always as straightforward as entering a text prompt that we know will give us something
Yeah.
scary. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite examples of artificial strangeness dates back years.
Yeah.
So let's pause. And let's head back.
Yeah. Oh my god.
In
What?
2019, an anonymous programmer going by none other than the girl who talks to AI set out to create a simulation of the human brain by utilizing a system known as a Generative Adversarial Network,
Yeah.
or GAN for short.
Yeah.
GANs essentially become trained through machine learning to take in millions of existing stimuli in order to recreate an idea. In this case, the system
they're
was
trained
tasked
using
with
an
creating a
adversary.
face, and after prowling
Yeah.
through millions of existing photos, it spit out this one.
And it looks pretty fucking
The program,
good.
However,
There is a little bit off with the eyes,
curious idea.
but it's pretty
Since
fucking
the
good.
AI's entire worldview is
Horrifyingly
constrained by
good.
the sum of its inputs, what would happen if it were to slowly forget the very thing it was trained for?
Right?
And so, with the AI's neurons visualized to the right, she shuts them off one by one until this face distorts into something completely unrecognizable.
Powerful self-portraits reveal William Underholton's underlying, or dementia, excuse me. Right? Because he starts drawing all, like, weirdly.
The parallels
Yeah.
between synthetic deconstruction and afflictions of the human mind are clear.
Yeah.
And this project serves as a curious looking glass into the realm of neuroscience and how we as individuals perceive life around us.
Yeah.
The way that face slowly distorts into a faded memory, leaving the
Yeah.
remaining neurons scrambling to fill the void, leaves us with an end result that is haunting. And
Right.
to this day, this remains as one of the most fascinating AI curiosities that I have ever seen.
It's dementia, excuse me. I think I confused it.
Loeb is an eerie case study. Someone that has successfully cemented herself in the online sphere.
Yeah.
And while the reason behind her conception and why this AI somehow latched on to her oddly specific facial features and tied them to macabre, disturbing imagery is currently unclear.
Right.
What is certain is that her persistence has left us with an interesting revelation. We know that AI knows how to create subjectively beautiful synthetic art through mere text
Yeah.
prompts, generating some of the most striking examples of the sheer potential of modern technology. With that said, who's to say that it can't excel at the opposite?
Right.
Relatively,
this art
the
is
adoption and
terrifying.
potential of synthetic art
Dolly's
is merely
AI
beginning.
art generator
And with
is
the
now
advent of
sort
Loeb
of available
freaking
to
so
everyone.
many of us
Dolly's
out,
pretty good now.
what else is hidden away within the vast abyss of AI? And how will this impact us when we find them?
Yeah, this is a beautiful fucking video and documentary-esque video. Now we just sit in and just, I guess, listen to like Coin Locker Bay, Curse of Oiwa, Himuro Mansion. We just listen to fucking,
Content, disturbing, violent, and
creepypastas at
graphic
this point.
images, jump scares, pop-ups, and sudden loud noises. Viewer discretion
So
and
hold up, let's like all of these that we watched. Like Snook's video was pretty good. So was Nexpo. Nexpo never makes me mad or angry or anything like that. This Tats video from like 3 years ago. We'll watch No Translate
Advised.
soon.
Creepypastas, myths, and legends can be
Ooh, we
traced
might
back
get
to
through
their
half of
country
this
origin,
because like I want to
usually
go
where
to
they have
sleep.
influenced the
'Cause
people
I've been
and
up
their
way too
culture the
long.
most. With the World Wide Web, those stories can now be widely distributed to scare and frighten more people across the earth.
From
Anyhow,
the
happy
mildly
Halloween,
concerning
everybody.
to the reportedly
I know it's like 1
life-threatening,
hour before
survivors
Halloween,
impart an
basically
eerie
ends.
warning
But
for
there's like the
everyone
Halloween
to
night.
not pursue any action that could lead you to repeat these events.
Uh-huh. Number 20. We'll get to 15. And then we'll do
Coin
the
Locker
other
Baby.
15 ones tomorrow.
Everything in life of one particular Japanese woman was going swimmingly. She was young,
This is a
single,
creepypasta, by
and
the
at
way.
the beginning of a great career. She couldn't have expected things to get better, but to her
Yeah.
surprise, they did. She was courted by a handsome man,
Ooh.
and the two were instantly smitten, falling in love and dating immediately. Those were the best times for her, but it would all come to a sudden unfortunate end. It had been a while since she experienced cramps and bleeding, so she feared the worst. She was pregnant, and had been for
Oh my
some
God.
time. When she explained this to her boyfriend, he flew into a rage and disowned both her and the unborn child, leaving them both all alone. The woman, far too inexperienced to deal with the prospect of raising a baby on her own, and the idea
Oh
of
my
telling
God,
her friends
my
or
head
family
just
scared her
cracked.
to death. They would never understand that it was a mistake. They would shame her and refuse to help, and would say it was all her fault, just like her boyfriend had said. It would all have to be kept hidden. She bought baggy clothes and concealed her belly as best as she could. Anyone who pointed it out would hear the excuse that she was simply putting on weight. No one questioned this, and she was not the sort of person to get into any trouble. Like that, after 9 months of lies and evasion, it was time to give birth. Not wanting to go to the hospital, she gave birth in her own room to a small baby boy. This sight did not overwhelm her with joy. It only made her dread what she would have to do to be rid of it. The following morning, she put the baby inside of a carrier bag and headed out from her home.
Yeah.
The traffic was so loud, and the bag
Jesus.
padded enough to keep its screams
See,
and
this
wails
doesn't
hidden
sound like
as
a
she made
creepypasta. It
beeline
sounds like
for
an
the
urban
local train
legend.
station. The long row of transit lockers caught her eye, and the idea hit her. She found an empty unlocked door, stashed the bag inside, and shut it tight.
No.
"I'm sorry," she whispered to the crying child.
That's
"I'm
so
sorry."
sad.
As she left, she was afraid people would hear her, but no one did. Her fear faded with every step out of the station and down the street, and over the years, so too did her memory. It wasn't something she or most people would wish to remember,
Huh?
and so she didn't. It was a long time before she set foot inside that station again, and still didn't recall what had been done. As she strode across the floor to her platform, she noticed a young boy crying against one of the lockers, his
God.
face covered against his arm. He seemed all alone and in great distress. No one was near to comfort him. They simply ignored the child. She changed direction and stopped behind the boy, resting a hand on his shoulder as he sobbed. "What's wrong? Are you lost?" she asked, to no reply. "Where's your mother?" The boy's tears suddenly stopped, and his cries faded. Slowly he turned back to her, and she saw his
said,
eyes were enraged,
yeah.
piercing her very soul.
And it was
"It's
like, you're
you,"
my
he
mother, yeah.
shouted. She remembered everything, and just as quick, knew no more. Many years later, the station underwent
Wow.
major renovations to improve congestion, allowing the staff to finally clean out the unclaimed lockers and their contents. Upon opening one of them, they pulled out a rather heavy travel bag that looked like it had remained unopened for a very long
Yeah.
time. It stank to high heaven. When they opened it, they were greeted with a grisly sight: the skeletal remains of a little baby boy, nestled close to its decaying mother.
Jesus fucking Christ, these are hardcore. Oh, wow.
The Curse of Owa. Owa lived her life as a dedicated wife to an adulterous and terrible husband, confident that she could raise their infant properly and with support. However, Shitai, her husband, had other plans in mind for the rest of his life. Shitai had long since coveted and seduced a mistress whom he planned to marry one day.
Oh my god.
The only thing that stood in his way
course.
was
What a
Owa,
horrible
his
person.
wife. Till death,
I'm
he
like
figured
literally
he slipped
like
poison
falling
into her
asleep. I'm
drinking
sorry.
cup mere hours.
Not because
after
like
she
these are boring,
had
but like
birthed their
or
child.
anything like that. Because these
The
are pretty
poison was
fucking
fast
high
acting.
there.
It caused her hair to fall from her scalp, her
It's
eyes
just like I
bulged
was
from their
awake
sockets,
since like
her
8,
mouth
and it's like
blackened from
12
the
in the
terrible
fucking
drug,
night.
but she knew. She always knew. She always knew. It was only a matter of time. Before perishing, she took her final revenge on him and slaughtered their newborn infant as it cried in its crib.
Oh my god.
Shitai hardly batted an eye, leaving
Dude, what the
behind the old
fuck?
life and entered the new. But he soon came to realize that it was at a much higher cost than he anticipated.
Yeah. Fuck
Everywhere
it.
he went, without fail, he would see her. Olwa, her face bitter and spiteful, hissed and jeered at him, seemingly in every direction. Her outrage at the circumstances of her life's end at his hands was shouted through his mind for much time that followed. In his private gardens, he would even witness Olwa wailing loudly over the corpses of her dead child. Stoic and determined, Shitai continued with the courtship, and before long his mistress was set to become his wife. As they were to exchange kisses at the altar, Shitai drew back the veil of his blushing bride, but instead revealed the ugly, snarling face of his former partner. So shocked was he at this appearance that he reacted by cutting her head clean off its shoulders.
Isn't this
Shitai
the legend of like
realized
the
only
nurse?
too late as the
with,
congregation
like, the
moved in
mask?
closer. He had not succeeded in killing the ghost of Olwa, but in murdering his wife-to-be.
Himaru Mansion. Although the locals attempted to keep the property and its paranormal happenings a secret, the reputation of Himaru's mansion's haunting spread throughout Tokyo, then all of Japan, as well as the hideous details of its backstory. It's no surprise that this one building is the source of inspiration behind the infamous Fatal Frame video game series that scares players to this day. Stories are told of its many phantoms and gory apparitions like blood splatters all over the wall and floor, and handprints dripping with red leading to bedrooms of the previous occupants. The ghosts that are seen roaming the halls and out on the grounds are speculated to be the family that last lived there. The most famous of these is the girl in the window, who can be seen if you take a photograph of one of the windows from the outside, staring into the lens. Some have attempted to investigate further, but have fled in fear or been found dead inside its many rooms, their limbs covered in rope marks. A few who decided to scour the vast
lagging,
underground
what the
passageway
fuck?
beneath the property
Okay,
suffered
now I'm
a
not
worse
lagging.
fate, ripped and slashed beyond recognition. At least 7 of these reported deaths have still remained unsolved. Despite this, rumors abound pertaining to just how this one mansion became the site of such a terrific haunting.
Yeah.
It's said that the Himaru family who lived there lived very ritualistic lives, practicing ancient rites such as the strangling ritual. They believed that a portal world would open in the courtyard and rain negative karma down upon their house, and so countered this horrific prophecy by sacrificing a pure young girl referred to as the Rope Shrine Maiden. She would be raised in secret, kept in isolation within the mansion and away from the world, for any exposure would render her unfit for the ritual. This would occur every 50 years, and when practiced, they would bind her, drag her to the getaway's predicted location, tie her arms and legs to 4 oxen, and have them tear her limb from limb by pulling in opposite directions.
Oh
The
my
bloodstained ropes would be left
God.
behind to seal the portal for another half-century. However, as the ritual was approaching, one of the Rope Shrine Maidens spied a boy out the window walking past the fence. She became instantly infuriated with him, and as consequence, meant that the sacrifice would no longer work with her. The sacrifice went ahead, but did not work. The family panicked and argued amongst themselves as to the next course of action to rid themselves of the curse. But the head of the family knew he had the only solution. One night he took his katana and went on a rampage throughout the mansion, slaughtering his entire family before finally falling upon his own sword. It was the only way to keep them safe from the great horrors that were predicted to come from the portal. But perhaps what is worse is that all their spirits now remain within the mansion's walls, never to find peace again.
Oh my god, this is freaky. What is that? Is that hair? What a fake ass video.
Ohaguru Bitari. By far one of the least violent additions
So
to this
after
list,
16,
the
that's it.
yokai Ohaguru Bitari is often seen hanging around shrines and temples at twilight, appearing from behind to be a newlywed bride or beautiful woman in a kimono. She beckons over single men and seduces them with their wives. The victims are blissfully unaware of anything out of the ordinary until she turns and upturns her veil. Beneath the brim lies an ugly, featureless face caked in heavy white makeup. Only dark red lips exist there, parted and smiling, revealing deep black teeth. She then cackles loudly at the horrified man she has lured, who has most likely started to flee. Some even suspect that at times she may appear in the homes of men who have brought her back without realizing their folly.
Oh my
To
god.
anyone who encounters her there, she is said to disguise herself as the man's wife. Although it is difficult to acquire legitimate reports of Ohaguru Batari's sightings, most victims feel a great deal of shame and embarrassment at the encounter, and so keep their stories a secret. It is theorized that she could be a shapeshifter that likes to pull mean pranks by turning into Japanese badgers, foxes, or raccoon dogs. Others suggest she could be the spirit of an unmarried ugly woman, bitter of her lack of luck in the world of romance. There may also be a link to the Ohaguru trend of East Asia, which consists of teeth being artificially darkened and appearing non-existent. It's no mistake she has the name Ohaguru Batari, which translates to nothing but blackened teeth. Regardless, all those who encounter her should feel lucky that the only casualty recorded at her hands has been pride.
Yeah. Honestly? What a big video. Here's after this, and that's it for tonight.
The 10-Day Dream.
Ooh, okay.
Warning. Upon hearing the details of this listing, you must follow the instructions included as its effects may take hold of you within 3
Too fucking shit video. What a way to get me. Okay. I really do hate fucking ritual videos because it's like it's different than seeing somebody play with the Ouija board, right? Especially when they use that stupid. I can say, warning: you must follow these steps after viewing this like video footage, or else you will be scammed or you will be fucking cursed or whatever, right? Like it's like the worst way to like make somebody like scared. I'm like, honestly, it works on me. It works on me. I have to say it works on me. Oh, we're not gonna watch this right now. We're gonna watch this tomorrow. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! No, but like the reason why is just like I said, it's fucking. Ugh, I don't want to hear about this right now. So yeah, happy Halloween. We're not gonna watch this. We're gonna finish the stream tomorrow because I'm very freaking tired. I know it's only been 2 hours, really. It's just a busy semester. I'm looking to see if I can take one of my G's over the winter, but it may not. This is like a month to do and pass the class. This is like horrible. And it's like December to like December 26th. It's just such a like what sort of thing, and well, that's not even a month. It's like 3 weeks. God damn! Yeah, it's 3 weeks. Ew, and it's fucking asynchronous too. Anyhow, I'll see you later. Happy Halloween again. You know, this Halloween was small. You know, this month was a little different, right, than my usual like streams. And also like maybe even scary streams because like honestly I was on the time constraint. I was crunch timing, right? So yeah, I'll see y'all later. Good night, whatever it is, and yeah, we'll finish this off tomorrow. Hopefully, because like I hate falling, especially when it's like okay, it's like fucking, did you see this guy? Like that one's like stupid. I know that one's like fucking fake as fuck, so I can fall asleep to that. But like when it's like dream shit, a lot of like, if I like really do not like a creature that I learned about, and it's like scary because it's like not mythological, but like it's like story wise scary. Like, ooh, it'll pop up in your dreams. Chances are. Oh, chances are. I should stop nail biting, I swear. But chances are something is gonna pop up in my dreams. Just saying. um, yeah. So stuff like this is just it just fucking infuriates me because I'm like, oh, I want to learn about it, but like when it's nighttime, it's like no, it's like big no for me. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Again, have a happy Halloween. I'll be back tomorrow, and if not, I'll be back el Día de los Muertos. And yeah, bye bye everybody. Good night, Deodorus. Yeah, bye. Good night.